So my guest today is Sperling, partner of Web. Jörg, you're welcome to Digital October.
Thank you, Anna.
And my first question is, how did you earn your first money?
Oh, I earned my first money during school. We had a local family-owned business. They were doing bricks, actually, out of clay, bricks. And they came through a large conveyor belt, and we had to select the ones that were not good. So that was my job. And later on, after doing my studies, I worked in science and made some money there. But my first job was during school for this brick manufacturer.
Now, I guess that today's young people know, don't break your iPhone and don't make it a brick.
Exactly.
After this.
No, real bricks for building.
Okay. In your professional backgrounds prior, you've worked with the spin-offs.
Yes.
On your experience, on your opinion, what is the most difficult things in the work with the universities?
So I worked or advised on spin-offs both from corporates and also from the Fraunhofer Institute, so a large research institute. Typically the problem with the spin-offs is that the teams that are interested in spinning off are largely engineers. So you need to pair them with the right business people. So having a complete team that besides the engineers also has sales and finance is typically a problem. And then also the IP rights is always a problem, whether you spin something
intellectual property.
Intellectual property, yeah, sorry. So when you spin something off from universities or corporates, a big question is always, do they get a license? Do they own the IP? I had situations where corporates were spinning off teams with license to patents, and then a change of controls. When this new company gets acquired by somebody, the rights fall back to the corporates, which of course is not fundable. No VC would invest in such a business. So those are typically the two problems, the rounding up the team around the engineers and scientists, and who owns the IP. Those are the two problems typically with spin-off.
What's on the investor's mind, when, especially if we're thinking about the spin-offs? Because it's a very, very controversial thing to invest.
Yeah, exactly. It has pluses and minuses. I mean, the plus is typically I have an engineering team that worked together for a while. This is a plus. The minus is it's typically the team comes from academia in many cases, and having great science doesn't make a product a great product, and having great science doesn't make the business successful. So I think it helps a lot when you have people who are used to approaching customers, who know a market very well, and when you just work on the science, you run the risk that you develop a great product, but then in the end nobody wants it, doesn't have a market, so that's the problem.
Mm-hmm. You also play an active role like a judge and coach for the Munich, Swiss and Saxon plant competition. So given advice for the startups, leaders, what do you need to have done before speaking to the investor when you're preparing your business plan or your business presentation?
Right. So I mean, these early stage business plan competitions, I do them more or less as a hobby, because as a fund we invest in much later stage companies, so companies doing between 10 and 100 million euros of revenue. So it's more a hobby where I get involved in these business plan competitions. What I always want to see from in these business plans is tell me something about the team, and I want to see in the business plan that you thought about the competition. So I give you an example, sort of the worst business plan for me is 20 pages and it only talks about the product. This to me is one portion. I'm very much interested about the people, the background of the people, and I want to see that you have done your homework on the market size, and on the competition. And it's not. It is the content, but to me I look more at the quality of the content. Have the people done their homework? That's what I want to see. And same from the financials. And do I believe the financials that I see from an early stage company? They don't know. Reality is they don't know what revenues they will have in 5 years. But I want to see that they know how to, from a financial perspective, do a proper business plan. Are they familiar with this? Is there financial skills there? Do they have finance people on the team? So I look more at the quality. Have they done their homework, and what's the quality of the business plan?
So I can ramp up, just no business plan survives, and as Steve Blank...
That's correct.
Yeah.
So when I look at the financials, I look, does this all make sense? Does the margin make sense? The way they do it, does it make sense? But do I believe the revenue forecast for the year 2015? Absolutely no. And do I believe their rollout strategy for the product? This may be right for the initial step, but a year or two down the road, the market has changed, everything has changed, so the company needs to adopt.
So you can agree that you should connect with your first customers as early as you can.
As early as possible, absolutely. I actually prefer the American way as opposed to the European way. I invested in both North America for many years and also in Europe. In North America, typically great company starts with great salespeople. They have identified an opportunity at customers, and then they think about, well, how do I design a product for that? And I'm exaggerating because, of course, there are exceptions to the rule. But in Europe, in many cases, the start of a company is an engineering team. They have a product, and now they try to find customers.
Mm-hmm. And in a short way, at the end of our conversation, your focus nowadays on the web activity.
Yeah, it's much later stage companies. We invest in companies in the clean tech segment across Europe, companies that do between 10 and 100 million in revenue, and we acquire minority but also majority stakes in these companies. So we call this the growth stage. So it's not the seed stage, it's not the early stage, it's the growth stage where we invest in companies.
Mm-hmm. It was a short talk with Jörg Sperling.
Yeah,
thank you
okay,
very much.
thank you, Anna.
Thank you.
Thank you.